Hello, my name is Selena. I am 24 and I've had long hair my entire life. I had a bob when I was in first grade, so like 18 years ago, and since then it's been, I've had some shoulder length moments unintentionally from like frying my hair with bleach and whatnot. Um, I woke up yesterday with about 2 feet of long, healthy hair, and it just did not feel healthy, and it did not feel good. Like, it was, but it just felt like dead weight. I just moved across the country. I've been feeling a lot of grief in my life and trying to work through a lot of grief. And I came here hoping for a new beginning, and in a lot of ways it's been shifting that way, but it was just taking its sweet time. And I think I realized in a lot of ways, I've noticed in the past couple of years that I am my own biggest critic. I am my, I'm the only one really truly working against myself most of the time. And, uh, yeah, I've been on this path of trying to live more authentically and more genuinely and trying to figure out what that means to me, trying to connect to my inner child and what she needs from me. And so I was cutting my boyfriend's hair 2 days ago, and I joked about how, like, I want to buzz my head. Ha ha ha, so funny. And then, yeah, yesterday I woke up and I had like a box dyed bleach like strand in it, and it was just so dead, and I just like chopped it way up, and I was like, oh, well, I don't feel any type of way about that, and I just kind of want it all gone. Like, I want to do this to the rest of my hair. So, clearly I did it. I brought it down to a 1/2 inch. Feels great. This is the hair that I've probably had and then some, but I think all this hair is definitely from my time out of the area I grew up, been moved out of that state. And yeah, I will be honest, I don't like think I look the best. I don't think I look bad. I do prefer having long hair, and I'm going to grow it back out, but I've been wanting a new beginning and a fresh start and this feeling of rebirth, and it's been in like small increments, and I realized that there's so many reasons that honestly shaving my head like helps me detach from or like work through, that I think that this experience will help push me through this rebirth. Like, I'm a baby again. Peanut butter baby. So I did a pros and cons list because my mom was really big about those, which that was also a big reason why I wanted to shave my head, is my mom lost her hair 4 times from cancer and, well, chemotherapy, and I was not in contact with her at that time. I was adopted. So I never got to do it with her, but I honestly would have done it with my mother, and I never did. And I think, she was a badass. She was a beautiful person, beautiful soul, beautiful woman. Like, if she could lose her hair 4 times, I can do it once to just liberate myself, from a lot of conditioning. And that's been a big thing about like wanting to live authentically that I've been working through, is deconditioning myself from expectations. Never been a fan of the patriarchy. So I am like happy to step away from those conditions, but I think just even in terms of people that are projecting their own feelings about their own circumstances, not just men, but people that I've been surrounded by in my life that have had very strong feelings of dislike towards themselves and wanted to push that onto me. I'm not unique in that experience. Is kind of how we all get there, and I've done my fair share of projecting, but I don't wish to affiliate with those, like identify with those feelings is the word I'm looking for. They come and go, they come and pass, and I can recognize them faster and faster every time that those things come up within myself. Whether I'm internalizing or projecting, I have something on my shirt. I need to get dressed. Anyways, so I came up with this pros and cons list. And to be honest, as soon as the idea came in my head, I like knew that I had to do it and that I was gonna do it. Like I couldn't not do it at that point. So the pros were to help me live more authentically. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot less to hide. There's a lot less of like a superficial aspect, which I'll kind of get to in the other points. Step away from social conditioning and expectations. This is a big one for me. Again, I'm like learning to step away from my own inner critic or like my inherited or conditioned inner critic and learn how to love myself in a more authentic and genuine way so that I can show up in that way a lot more in my life. And so, learn to love and appreciate deeper aspects of myself. You know, uh, I have not always been like conventionally attractive. I've been, and attraction is so much more than like, you know, how you look and all of the things. Like attraction is in the eye of the beholder. I think it's a soul thing, whatever, you know, I don't have to get into that right now. But in terms of speaking conventionally or socially, um, I've been bigger in my life. I've been had like not great hair, to be honest. Like this is not my worst hair look, but it is definitely like my shortest, which is again like conventionally the most uncommon, so it is the most, you know, like out there. And um yeah, I just wanted to step away from my ability to kind of rely on people thinking that I'm, you know, whatever. And I have not personally felt very great about myself most of the time in my life. But I think that having like to some extent an external like validation of that just as I live my life, you know, people looking at me or checking me out or people telling me that I'm pretty or that I'm beautiful, those types of things, you know, like that validation is just not sustainable for actually building that foundation in myself of like seeing myself that way. So I think that it kind of brings me into like I have to learn how to appreciate deeper aspects of myself. Like I have to learn how to really be the person that I want to be or step into the person that I am more, because those are the aspects of myself that I find to be beautiful, and I have kind of like ignored them and kind of been in denial about those things existing, and like taking off the ability to get that external validation. Like I think everybody is beautiful in their own way. I think I look beautiful with short hair, but I think like just in general I am not, you know, seeking to be this externally validated, and that is a big thing. That is a huge factor in terms of how many people are going to validate you, you know, or whatever the fuck that means. And then I also said there was less to hide behind, which is kind of like tied to that, but also very physically. Like my hair's been long, and I kind of always like wore it in front of my face, uh, for the most part, and I think it just like gave me like a little bit of a shield. And this I'm like bald, you know, like I cannot hide my face, which is again also something that I need to learn to love and appreciate about myself, is that I have a beautiful face. Again, unconventional. I got my mother's nose and definitely broke it many, many years ago and did not get it fixed. And that's okay. But we're not exactly like fitting into societal conventions. I got a very like soft jawline and, you know, whatever. Who cares? Not me. I don't care. Anyways, same thing, next point, less emphasis on superficial image. Just overall it doesn't matter, you know? I've wanted to feel that way, and there have been periods in my life where I have felt that way. I'm really not looked in the mirror much and just like went about my life. You know, that was more so coming from a place of kind of like depression or whatever, but I wanted to come now from like a place of genuine like carefree and liberation, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter. Um, I personally believe that hair holds energy, it holds memories, everything. Like I said, I've made a huge life change and I've faced a lot of grief, and a lot of the hair that was on my head was from those times that I experienced those events that led up to the grief, or the experiences of being and sitting unhealthily, or like in more of like that weighted, um, very hopeless kind of grief that I was experiencing. And so for me, letting go of the past, letting go of what I've depended on, and also just not having like a physical connection in a lot of ways. Like my body has changed drastically since I've been out of those circumstances. Like my shoulders, I can actually like see my shoulders now. Like before it was just like a whole like line over here, just like the tension. And my face and my body just in general like is like losing inflammation and swelling and all of the ways that stress has affected me. So I feel like physically my body has shed the majority of the ways that I was feeling still physically connected or tied or reminded of those times. And so getting rid of like something where, you know, it to me it holds energy and I want a blank slate, I want a rebirth. I just don't want anything in my physical vessel to really remind me of that time as much as I can help it, you know? Like there is a time for reflection, but it's not just like a constant. I think the reasons for holding on to some of those things were not good for me. Which I actually will say I didn't write that down because I ran out of space in my prose. But I also I've been very disconnected from like the need for physical attachments. I basically lost everything. I lost so much, like all of my physical belongings, a lot of sentimental things. You know, I lost loved ones. I was forced to kind of face like this feeling of, you know, detachment within such like a external circumstance. Like that those things were out of my control, and externally like I lost those things and I didn't really have a choice but to try to cope and to tell myself that it was okay and move on. And there were beneficial things I got from that. But I think this is like a very real way now for me to step away from just attachment to things. Attachment from the way that I've looked and depended on and felt comfortable looking, the ways that I have, you know, like maybe to some people it's just hair, but to some people hair means a lot, you know, like hair is a very symbolic thing. It's a very cherished thing and like possession. And so yeah, I mean, I just wanted to personally shed that attachment to possession in a different way. Possession with you know, feeling like I have to look a certain way or be a certain way or show up in a certain way, which is the big thing. You know, it is all about the mental reasons behind like why I did this to myself. But to show myself that I can show up in a different way and I don't have to have an attachment to who I have been. Ooh, that was the point. Anyways, and then the last pros I said was that I want to be the type of woman to shave my fucking head, you know? Like I said, I'll probably never do this again. I mean, maybe. I don't know what the future holds. I think this is the time in my life when I absolutely just needed to like not care. And like that was the thing, is like I told myself is like I want to do this so that I can not care as much, you know. I can be very like anxious and have like a tendency to need to try to like cling on to things or control, and I don't like love those aspects of my being, and I'm trying really hard to heal from them and work through them. But I wanted to like tell myself like I want to shave my head so that I can't care like about, you know, certain things. Like I just can't care. But then as soon as I started cutting it, I realized that I already didn't. And I'd just been kind of convincing myself that I like had to, because as soon as it actually started happening, like my support system, my friends and family and everything were like, you're gonna cry, like you're gonna cry and it's gonna be pretty emotional. I was like, yeah, like thinking about it all day, I wanted to cry. I just wanted to do it. I felt ready. And then when it actually started happening, it just felt right. Like it just felt that this is the decision that I want to make and need to make for my life right now. It's I just laughed and smiled, and I almost like teared up a little bit at the end, just because like I was happy to just feel that weight of the obviously like mental things gone. But it's very loud, I'm sorry. But yeah, I just didn't want to care, and I realized that I already don't. I wanted to feel free, I wanted to feel liberated, and as soon as I started doing something to give me that chance to like really feel free and liberated, I realized I already was. I already am, and I already have been, and I think this is just a very real way to like show myself that like I don't have to care. It's not that I did care. I convinced myself that I did because I felt like I had to or that I should. But then as soon as I did it. Cool. Great. I'm bald now. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up, but the cons that I came up with was that I might not always like how I look, but then I did note that I already didn't. I already don't. And honestly, life is about so much more than the way that you look, and I truly believe that in anybody else other than myself. And I think this is a way for me to just really like practice what I preach in terms of wanting people to feel connected to themselves and their divinity, their own divinity, and their authenticity, and their happiness, and their beauty, and their own love, and all of these things. And I want to preach it and preach it and preach it, but honestly, this is like a very real way for me to like face those like things within myself that I'm still working through, and really just kind of like set the baseline of being able to truly practice what I preach in a lot of ways, in terms of stepping away from attachment to material, stepping away from superficial or expectational like image, being able to love myself more authentically and in more deep and genuinely like appreciate different things about myself, and yeah, I mean, take control of my own life and feel supported by the universe or myself even, you know, just to make those decisions, to learn how to trust myself again. Anyways, yeah, so thank you so much for listening. I can't believe I cut 2 feet of hair off my head. I don't know if you've ever shaved your head. This is like, for me, it's obviously again just like more of a symbolic thing, but it's really freeing. It's really nice. Fuck the patriarchy. And yeah, it's a good time, and it's a great time to start practicing what I preach on another level. So thank you so much for watching. I love you.